Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Kennedy half-dollar coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Imagine holding in your hand a piece of American history, a coin that doesn't just shine with silver, but glows with the spirit of independence. Today, we're diving into the captivating world of the United States Kennedy half-dollar, specifically the bicentennial edition marked 1776 to 1976 with the D mint mark. This isn't just pocket change, this coin could be the key to a treasure hiding in plain sight. Stick with us until the end, because we'll reveal just how much this coin could be worth, and let's just say, it might blow your mind. Let's set the stage. The year is 1976, and the United States is celebrating 200 years of independence. Fireworks light up the skies, patriotic songs fill the air, and across the nation, people are filled with pride. To commemorate this monumental moment, the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial coins, quarter dollars, dollar coins, and yes, the Kennedy half-dollar. But these weren't ordinary coins. They were designed to capture the essence of American liberty and the journey from 1776 to 1976. The Kennedy half-dollar from this series stands out not only for its design but also for the story it tells. On the obverse side, you see the strong profile of President John F. Kennedy, a figure forever etched into the hearts of Americans. His image represents leadership, hope, and a future tragically cut short. The reverse side, though, is what truly makes this coin shine. It features the image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence. The phrase 200 years of freedom engraved into metal, preserved for generations. But here's where things get even more interesting: the D you'll find on some of these coins. That tiny letter stands for the Denver Mint, where a significant portion of these half-dollars were struck. While millions of bicentennial halves were minted, only a select few from the Denver Mint have become the stuff of legend among collectors. Why? It all comes down to condition, composition, and a bit of mystery. You see, most of these coins were made for everyday use. They passed through hands, jingled in pockets, and were tossed into jars and drawers across the country. But a few were set aside, untouched and uncirculated, sealed away in pristine condition. And among those few are rarer versions struck on silver planchets, with deep cameo finishes, or even featuring unique minting errors that slipped through unnoticed. For collectors, these coins are pure gold. Well, not literally gold, but in terms of value and desirability, they're right up there. Experts hunt for high-grade examples certified by trusted grading services. Coins rated MS67 and higher, especially with a flawless strike and brilliant luster, become instant showpieces in any collection. And if you're lucky enough to discover one of these rarities, the kind that checks all the boxes, mint condition, historical significance, and a touch of anomaly, then you might just be looking at a serious payday. So, what could a 1776 to 1976 D Kennedy half-dollar be worth if it meets all those rare conditions? Not just a few bucks. Not even a few hundred. The highest recorded sale for one of these extraordinary coins reached an astonishing $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. A half-dollar, minted to honor America's 200th birthday, ended up being worth more than some luxury cars. It's living proof that history, rarity, and a little bit of luck can turn an everyday coin into a collector's dream. So take a closer look at your change jar. Dig through your old coin collection. Because that unassuming Kennedy half-dollar might just be your hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Top 2. We're diving into one such hidden treasure, the 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar. It might look like just another coin from the past, but don't be too quick to judge, because this specific half-dollar could be worth far more than you'd ever expect. Let's take a step back in time to the early 1970s. The United States was still in the midst of the Cold War, the Vietnam War was ongoing, and Americans were adjusting to a rapidly changing world. Amid this turbulent time, the U.S. Mint released millions of Kennedy half-dollars, continuing a coin series that began in 1964, shortly after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. By 1971, a major change occurred. For the first time since its inception, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer struck in silver for general circulation. Instead, the 1971 coins were made using a copper-nickel plaid composition, a shift that marked the end of an era. Silver was reserved for special collector's editions only, and the everyday coin in your pocket had officially entered a new age. The 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar, minted in Denver, was part of this turning point. Millions were produced, and most of them were used in everyday transactions, buying groceries, tipping at diners, or tucked into drawers and forgotten. But not all of them. Among those millions, a few coins were different. A few had something extra. And that extra is what turns a 50-cent piece into a life-changing discovery. Collectors and experts have spent years studying these coins, and they've found that condition is everything. Coins that were never circulated, those that remained untouched, with sharp detail, brilliant surfaces, and not a single scratch, are incredibly valuable. Grading services look for perfection, and those rare examples that reach the highest possible grades are like winning the numismatic lottery, but that's not all. Some of these coins, especially from the Denver Mint, have been found with unusual traits. A few were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets, others display rare minting errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws. These rare features make a huge difference in the eyes of collectors. When rarity, condition, and historical interest all align in a single coin, the result is often a staggering market value. You might be wondering, how could you even tell if you have one of these treasures? The answer lies in careful inspection and proper grading. If your 1971 D. Kennedy half-dollar shows strong detail, an attractive luster, and no signs of wear, it may be worth sending to a professional grading service. You never know, you could be holding onto a coin that's far more valuable than it seems. And now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these coins be worth if it's one of the rare few in perfect condition, possibly with a minting error or struck on a silver planchet? One such coin has shocked the collecting world by reaching a sale price of $82,000. That's right, what started as a regular half-dollar from the 1970s ended up selling for an amount most people wouldn't believe. This isn't just a coin, it's a piece of American history, a symbol of a generation, and for one lucky collector, a serious investment. So take another look at those old coins sitting in a jar or passed down from family. The 1971 D. Kennedy half-dollar might not seem special at first glance, but hidden beneath its surface could be a story worth telling, and a fortune worth finding. Top 3. We're diving into the mysterious and surprisingly valuable story behind a coin that could be hiding in plain sight. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll learn just how valuable this half-dollar can truly be, and trust me, you'll want to check your change right after. Let's rewind to 1988. Ronald Reagan was finishing his second term as President of the United States. The Cold War was beginning to thaw. CDs were replacing vinyl, and the U.S. economy was booming. Amid all this change, the Denver Mint was hard at work producing the standard coinage for circulation, including the now iconic Kennedy half-dollar. The Kennedy half-dollar series, first introduced in 1964, was a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, who had been tragically assassinated just months earlier. It was meant to be a symbol of national unity and remembrance, and for years, it carried a special place in the hearts of Americans. By 1988, these coins were no longer made of silver but had shifted to a copper-nickel clad composition. And even though they were produced in large numbers, most people weren't using half-dollars in daily transactions anymore. They were becoming more of a collector's curiosity than everyday currency. As a result, many of these coins ended up sitting in banks, vaults, and collections, quietly waiting for someone to notice their potential. The 1988 D. Kennedy half-dollar was one of millions struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, there's nothing particularly flashy about it. It features the familiar image of President Kennedy on the obverse, sharp and dignified, and the presidential seal on the reverse. But numismatists, coin experts, know that the value of a coin isn't just in its appearance. It's in the details, condition, rarity, and the occasional minting anomaly. Over time, collectors began to notice that some 1988 D half-dollars were showing up with unexpected traits. A few had extraordinary strikes, so crisp and perfect, they looked like they came straight from a proof set. Others had minting errors, misaligned dies, doubling in the lettering, or even planchet mistakes. And in the coin collecting world, errors are gold. Not because of the metal, but because of how incredibly rare and unique they are. What sets certain 1988 D. Kennedy half-dollars apart is not just a rare error or pristine condition, it's the combination of both. When a coin manages to be in near-perfect condition, untouched by circulation, and carries a rare anomaly from the minting process, its value can skyrocket. Add professional grading into the mix. If the coin earns a high grade like MS67 or MS68, and you're talking about serious collector interest, people often assume only ancient coins or coins with silver or gold content can be worth real money. But modern clad coins, like the 1988 D. Kennedy half dollar, have proven otherwise, especially when they exist in exceptionally rare forms. So, if you're holding on to a few Kennedy half dollars from the late 80s, don't overlook them. Look closely. Check for unusual features. And if it looks like it's in flawless shape, it may be time to have it graded professionally. You just might be holding something far more valuable than a 50-cent piece. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these rare and exceptional 1988 D. Kennedy half dollars be worth? Believe it or not, one of these rare specimens, graded to perfection and featuring a remarkable error, was valued and sold for an incredible $75,000. Yes, a coin that once slipped quietly through circulation, overlooked and unassuming, turned out to be a hidden treasure worth more than most people's cars. So the next time you're sorting through your change or flipping through an old collection, keep an eye out for the 1988 D. Kennedy half dollar. Because beneath that familiar face of President Kennedy may lie a story of rarity, history, and a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 4. We're uncovering the fascinating tale of a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in someone's collection or pocket change, the 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another piece of loose change. But if you stay with us to the end, you'll discover why this particular coin could be worth far, far more than you ever imagined. Let's rewind to the year 1998. It was the final stretch of the 20th century. The internet was just beginning to change the world, cell phones were shrinking, and a sense of anticipation hung in the air as the new millennium approached. In the midst of all this change, the United States Mint continued its steady production of coins for circulation, one of which was the Kennedy half dollar, proudly bearing the P Mint mark from Philadelphia. The Kennedy half dollar has always carried emotional weight. First minted in 1964 as a tribute to the late President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination, it was designed not only as currency but as a symbol of a nation in mourning and in motion. Over the years, the coin evolved. The early silver versions gave way to copper-nickel clad compositions, and the coin became less common in everyday transactions. By 1998, the Kennedy half dollar was rarely seen in daily use, making it more of a collector's item than a convenience store staple. Now, here's where things get interesting. While the 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar was produced in substantial numbers, not all coins are created equal. Most of these coins ended up scuffed, scratched, and worn from circulation. But a very small number were preserved in nearly perfect condition, flawless surfaces, brilliant shine, and razor-sharp details. And among these, an even smaller handful carry traits that make collectors go wild. Sometimes, the minting process doesn't go as planned. Errors occur, strikes can be off-center, dies can be doubled, or a coin might even be struck on the wrong planchet. These mistakes are extremely rare, and when they appear on a coin that's already in exceptional condition, they can dramatically increase its value. The 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar has been found with some of these rare anomalies, turning a once ordinary coin into an extraordinary collector's prize. But rarity isn't the only factor. Grading matters too. Coins are professionally graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect specimen. Coins that score in the high 60s, like MS-67, MS-68, or even a perfect MS-70, are astonishingly scarce. And when a 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar reaches one of these top grades, especially when combined with a mint error or exceptional strike, collectors will pay top dollar to add it to their collection. It's these special combinations, mint condition, rare errors, high grading, that turn what many see as a forgotten half dollar into a coveted treasure. So how can you tell if your 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar might be one of these hidden gems? Look closely. Does the detail on Kennedy's hair look incredibly sharp? Is there a mirrored finish or unusual doubling in the text or date? Is the coin free of wear and scratches? If the answer is yes, it may be time to have it evaluated by a professional grading service. Because what looks like 50 cents might just be something far more valuable. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. How much could one of these rare 1998 P. Kennedy half dollars actually be worth? Believe it or not, a flawless specimen of this coin, graded at the highest levels and exhibiting the rare traits that collectors dream about, has been valued at an astonishing $60,000. That's right. $60,000 for a coin that many people wouldn't look twice at. Proof that sometimes, hidden fortune lies where we least expect it. So go check your drawers, coin jars, and old collections. The 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar could be your hidden treasure, waiting to be discovered. Top 5, we're uncovering the surprising and fascinating story of the 1983p Kennedy half dollar. It's a coin many people overlook, but if you stick around, you'll see why this one could be worth more than most people's yearly salaries. Let's travel back to 1983. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, MTV was changing pop culture, and personal computers were just starting to find their way into American homes. It was a time of energy, innovation, and shifting economics. And amid all that, the U.S. Mint continued its work, producing everyday coins like the Kennedy half dollar, minted in Philadelphia and marked with a P and L. The Kennedy half dollar had already been in circulation for nearly 2 decades by this point. It was first issued in 1964, a heartfelt tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination. Over time, the coin became a symbol of both remembrance and American resilience. But by the early 1980s, it wasn't something you saw very often in your change. Half dollars weren't used much in daily transactions anymore, making them something of an oddity in your pocket or a curiosity in a drawer. The 1983p Kennedy half dollar was minted using the standard copper nickel clad composition. Nothing unusual there. But as any serious coin collector will tell you, the devil is in the details. And that's where things get exciting. While millions of 1983 Kennedy half dollars were produced, only a tiny fraction survived in pristine condition. Most were handled, circulated, and stored without much thought. But a select few were kept in near-perfect shape, untouched by wear, retaining sharp design features, clean fields, and flawless surfaces. These are the kinds of coins collectors dream about, and when certified and graded professionally, their value skyrockets. But condition isn't the only factor. 1983 was also a year of minting challenges. Budget constraints and outdated machinery sometimes led to striking inconsistencies, and a small number of Kennedy half dollars from that year were struck with unusual errors. Some coins showed doubling in the lettering or date. Others have off-center strikes or planchet flaws, extremely rare defects that make each of those coins truly one of a kind. Now combine a rare minting error with a coin in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. What you have isn't just a coin, it's a collector's prize. A true numismatic gem, and the market recognizes that. Over the years, coin enthusiasts, investors, and historians have paid close attention to the 1983p Kennedy half dollar, especially those that have been graded at the highest levels. Some coins have been preserved so well and feature such unique characteristics that they've sold for prices that might surprise even seasoned collectors. So how do you know if your 1983 Kennedy half dollar is one of these valuable examples? Start by checking the coin's surfaces. Is it clean and shiny, without scratches or dull spots? Look at the details in Kennedy's hair and the eagle on the reverse. Are they sharp and deeply struck? And finally, look for anything odd, misalignments, doubling, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. If you find something that stands out, it's worth having the coin professionally graded. Because you might be holding onto something far more valuable than you think. And now, here's the part that collectors and treasure hunters alike wait for. What is the highest known value a 1983p Kennedy half dollar has ever reached? When all the stars aligned: perfect condition, high-grade certification, and a rare mint error. Believe it or not, one of these coins has fetched an incredible $70,000. That's right. A coin once minted for everyday use, often tossed aside or forgotten, ended up being worth $70,000. It's a powerful reminder that history and value can hide in the smallest, quietest places. So go ahead, dig through your change jar, check that old coin collection, or ask your relatives if they have any half dollars tucked away in a box. The 1983p Kennedy half dollar might just be your hidden fortune. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing finds, and tap the bell so you don't miss any future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!